Hey guys, what's going on today? Hope everybody's having a good uh, Tuesday. This is Tuesday, and I'm here to review the book that I got actually from Target. You know, the same bookstore that sells White Fragility also sells Candace Owens Blackout. Uh, the title of the book is Candace Owens Blackout, and it says how Black America Can Make Its Second Escape from the Democratic Plantation. Wow, what a title there. Holy crap. Felt uncomfortable reading that. But yeah, so I'm going to do a book review today on Deplorable. This is a channel where we talk about conservative things, conservative topics. Mostly anybody who wants to tune in, wants to learn a little bit more. Hopefully, we'll learn a little bit of some things today. But I just wanted to kind of get into the book. It took me like a week. I just read through it. It was very uh, kind of a page turner. I knew it's some of the stuff that was going to be in the book, like some of the topics. Because uh, I've watched her on Joe Rogan. If you look up on YouTube, look up on Candace Owens. Uh, on YouTube. I can't remember where I first saw her, when I first ran into her. I remember they did have a Blexit event in the area of Richmond, Virginia. I think it was at like the National, and she's basically like a conservative activist. She goes around and she works with Turning Point. She works with two different organizations. I don't know if Blexit is under Turning Point, but Turning Point is one of the things with her and a guy with Charlie Kirk, and they go around to different campuses and different things, and they do different speeches, and they talk about different things, different issues, and they kind of like debate people. People come up and ask questions, and she answers, and she kind of has, the only thing about Turning Point, though, that I'm not too much into is the combativeness of it, but I do like the fact that they do make some good points, and I will support Turning Point because I'm a conservative. So, and I like how they're trying to get the college kids back on track because I feel like a lot of the colleges are just kind of liberal brainwashing, with all their little, stuff like that. So Candace Owens Blackout, what a great book. Now, when I do book reviews, I did one on Don Jr., I did John Jr.'s book, Liberal Privilege. I did one on The Art of the Deal, which is a very good book. You can check that out on my channel. Also, I'm going to do Blackout. So Blackout was a really great book, um, which was just, just for a summary, pretty much it touched upon a lot of different topics, that a lot of different challenges that African Americans face. And going back to the Blexit thing, Blexit is the black exit from the Democratic Party, and it's basically black people mostly vote conservative, okay, and they're mostly conservative. So, and it's kind of been, again, like I said, it's kind of been strung on their heads that you've got to be loyal to this Democratic Party. If you don't, you're going to be ostracized, and just by anybody, really, not just people within black Democrats, but just in Jeffrey, you're just supposed to be black and Democrat. Obama's majority of his votes was black people. Um, Trump did get, I can't remember what the exact percentage was of the votes, but he did get a large portion of it. Majority of black people voted for Hillary in the Trump and Hillary election. So basically, going back to that, there was a Blexit event, and it has different speakers there. I can't remember all their names, but they just kind of get people ramped up, and they give out information, and just basically trying. There's several different ones. There's Brandon Straka, which he's a really good guy. He's actually a gay guy, and he's actually going out and you know talking to people, getting people to change their party, change their views. But there was a Blexit event in Richmond. Richmond is really liberal. You got VCU there. You got I don't know about the outskirts of Richmond, but I did live in Richmond, and I was going to go to that. I wasn't able to go, but I wish I would have went because Candace Owens was there and she talked, and a few other speakers. But on the book Blackout, there's a lot of different issues and things that she talks about in the book. And again, like I said, when she came out, I saw her on a debate with. It was on that show. It was on that channel Revolt, and I think that uh, P Diddy owns the Revolt, and so they had different various people right now, artists, just different people. I can't remember the exact. I remember Ti was on there. I'm familiar with Ti, and they were kind of having a debate, and they were talking about which is a famous one where they asked. Ti asked her, "Well, what makes America great again?" And she was trying to tell him. I can't remember exactly what she was saying, but he's like, "You started with some bullshit," and he wouldn't let her talk to the whole point. And what I like was the guy Killer Mike. I don't necessarily agree with Killer Mike's views on most of things. I looked up and I listened to some of his music. It was pretty good. I don't necessarily agree with some of the topics of the music. The music seems to be a really creative guy. He seems to be a pretty fair guy, and he actually kind of vouched for her, which I really liked. And I will say I do like people that try to look at people's different views. So you're supposed to vote Democrat, and basically the book highlights just how the Democrats have always promised certain policies, certain things to black people that have not, like, there's no, like, it's just not effective. For instance, if you look at a lot of these cities, these Democrat-run cities, Philadelphia, there was a young lady that tried to run, and Kim Klasick. I forgot exactly what she was going to run for, but she was trying to do, and she showed the plight of the neighborhoods. Now, the neighborhoods, they look pretty run down. If you're going around Philadelphia, they look pretty run down. And my thing is, all these great policies are supposed to pull people out of poverty, and I really don't feel like the current social welfare system, majority of people that are on welfare are white people, but and talking to people, a lot of people in government housing and things like that, you go in there, and I've heard stories of people that I think there was one lady that went in there, and she looked kind of like if you want something fixed, it takes forever. So the conditions and the education, she talked about the education piece. She talked about, just different things, how, again, like I said, it was kind of like the Don Jr. book. It was like, liberals are obsessed with race. And what the funny thing is that, right now, okay, you can even relate this book to right now. And I hate to go off on a tangent, but right now in Virginia, and here in Virginia, because this channel is done in Virginia. Right now in Virginia, they're saying that they do not want to have higher math classes because they don't believe that the African American students can succeed in the higher math classes. And I just think to me, I think that's kind of racist. I mean, that's like saying that you cannot achieve. That's kind of putting in their minds, all this stuff with like critical race theory. I think she talked a little bit about that in the book. I don't want to give away the whole book, but just a few snippets of it, of the book, and a lot of things are promised. I feel like Obama promised a lot of stuff that I just didn't see. I saw him trying to do it, but I don't think it was really effective. I think he fought more for the gay community than he did for African Americans. So, they always kind of get their vote, and I think people are kind of realizing that now. When you're in a culture where you really have to stick together, a community, that kind of thing, and you want to do things as a community, that's that's the thing. So I think people are trying to get this information out there. Um, I see a lot of Democrat policies working against the African American community as opposed um, to helping them flourish. Another example is the one she talked about that was the 19 I think it was 93, 94 crime bill, which kind of put more African Americans in jail. Um, that's kind of another thing. So yeah, so she's definitely what drew me to her was she's definitely more kind of if you watch her on various interviews, she's just kind of straight to the point and a fighter, and I like that. I like that about her, and I think that she really does care about the African American community. A lot of people, you know, the other thing about that is, just recently, um, I can't remember who it was, but spoke out and said America's not racist. And Tim Scott, okay, and Tim Scott comes out and he says America's, not a racist country, and people have been all over on him, not with like facts, but just kind of, we live in a country now because it just kind of irritates me that there have been so many milestones and breakthroughs uh, as far as like okay, like last when Trump was in office, you had the great criminal justice reform where they try to get lesser sentences. A lot of sentences are a lot more harsh, for certain things. You know, um, a lot of people will talk about that. The kind of, you know, inequities with that. But my thing is, uh, he made tremendous strides with that. Made tremendous strides with HBCUs. I went to an HBCU. I went to Norfolk State University. I'm proud that I went to an HBCU. Okay, um, that's why I'm doing this. That's why doing the same thing over and over again, uh, you know, is insanity. And I will not say that every conservative policy has worked either, but I do see more kind of what led me kind of to that was more kind of a logical kind of thing, as far as like for example, the Democrats, Joe Biden, he was down here this week talking about education, and they're raising the minimum wage. Well, we've just gone through a pandemic. I don't think it's very smart to when businesses were already struggling in the beginning from the pandemic. I example restaurant business, other businesses. Now you want them all to raise the minimum wage, which creates a huge problem, which creates another bill for the businesses because it costs money to hire people. What will happen? This has already been proven in California. Once you raise the minimum wage, then other people have to go because they have to be able to afford to hire these other people. So let me get back to the book. But those are just some examples of just kind of democratic policies that I'm not for. So yeah, it just kind of talks about it talks about a story. Um, it's really well researched. It does talk about a story when she was in high school, and she felt kind of out of place. I guess she went up a grade level, and she had a friend, and the friend had texted her something racist. And long story short, come to find out, it wasn't a white person that did it. It was like a friend, and all the media got a hold of it and everything like that. And there seems to be like a thirst for just the white person being racist against the black. There seems to be like a media thirst for that. It's like we have this incredible thirst, like, for like just like racism and people being racist, and I love it when it's a white person, a black person. That's just lovely. I mean, that all the media gets a hold of that and everything. And she talked about how it affected her, and she talked about a really cool story about where she was a friend with someone else who was black. Uh, they would say things to her. They would say she was stuck up and uppity. That's the other thing about the culture. She talks a lot about that, about how, you know, yeah, I can remember years ago, they had this thing about like, it was just kind of like about like ebonics, what the hell was that, um, it's talking about like slang because she talked proper English, she wasn't black enough. I had a friend who, well, a person I was dating, and she was black, and I can remember a girl saying to her, "Yeah, you know, you're not black enough. You're not from this certain area. You know, yeah, so you're not black enough. If you talk proper, you're not black enough. If you don't hold a certain, you know, opinion or anything like that, you're not black enough." I just feel like, as a white person, it is difficult to understand, but it's got to be disheartening. I think that there needs to be more unity. There needs to be more respect, as far as the political spectrum goes. If somebody, it's okay to joke about stuff. But when somebody's having a dialogue and having a thing about different issues, it seems to be like when conservatives, you're just kind of pushed out. You're off Facebook. You're off the main, um, source of media, social media, and I just find that odd. I just find that odd that we have gotten to a point now where everything is just kind of like racist. Everything is, when you don't agree with something, that's racist. That's I've ran into that. I kind of getting tired of that. I feel like everybody, if I'm not saying something, just if I'm not stereotyping anybody, if I'm not putting a stigma against someone, if I'm not, if I'm not saying something racist that's, saying that, I hate people, or, I'm making a judgment towards another group of people, or making a negative assumption about a certain group of people's ethnicity or race or anything like that, it's not race. It's not, Donald Trump came out and she did talk about that. She talked about Donald Trump towards the end of the book and the reasons why she chose him. And she liked his, I don't like to say what's at the end of the book, but, just give a little snippet. She liked how, forward he was. She liked that he kind of took things head on, especially with what's kind of going on with the African Americans and the educational, you know, where he came out and said, "Hey, your schools are no good. You know, the neighborhoods are no good." And I don't think he was trying to be racist or talking down to people. I think he was just kind of telling the truth. I mean, a lot of these schools, especially in the urban areas, I mean, and that's an inequity. I mean, you've got like they're trying to like learn, and there's no like heat, or you got like horrible teachers. You got like and the teachers are just trying to do the best that they can do with what they have. You know, as far as like resources for the kids. And education is very important. So yeah, there's totally. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people, kids in class, and like I remember like just hearing about stuff like I mean, there's so much stuff that kids go through now that especially in the African American community, you're dealing with a lot of different things, especially places like Philadelphia, I mean, kids getting held back, the educational system just in general it just needs to be changed around. There's a lot of this things where it's focused on race, it's focused on my thing here's my opinion, and you take it, don't take it, okay. I think race should be discussed with the parents should teach that. It's not the educator's job to the parent. Now the educator has to be the counselor, social worker, everybody, I feel like that's the parents' job, and if they don't have parents, whoever the guardian is, they need to talk about those things. I mean, it's okay to have like a forum, but to have like incorporate that into a curriculum, I mean, it's just like, I mean, do we really need that? I mean, I think it's more profitable for them to learn how to have life skills and to get a great job. I know that the governor of Florida has been fighting the critical race theory. I am not a fan of critical race theory. I think it's kind of biased. I think it's kind of making assumptions a lot about white people that, everybody wants to oppress them and the system is out to get you. You know, if this whole thing about the system and white supremacy and all this stuff, you know, first of all, who are the white supremacists? How are they oppressing anybody? What are these systems that supposedly are just attacking black people and just keeping them from uh, succeeding? My thing is I see a lot of people who come from countries such as the Sudan and Africa and different places like that, or maybe people from Asia that come over here and they're able to succeed. So I mean, not to take on and say that our Americans don't have anything that that challenges or anything like that. I think it's more of just we've talked about all the problems and all the things and all the racism, all that. Let's start talking about how we can overcome those things. You know what? People are going to be assholes too. I can go and apply for a job and somebody could have an assumption about me, maybe not to the extent of somebody that was African American, but I mean, let's just ignore the asshole. Let's kind of deal with the assholes. And there's racism out there. I get it. I totally get it. But America as a whole is racist. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that with all these Black Lives Matter stuff on the TV and Obama going into office, and the majority of the country voted for Obama. Back then, and you have in many of the city councils and things like that, a lot of them are majority black. So I mean, I don't get this whole white supremacy thing. I really don't. I think there are people are in power that often misuse their power. It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings kind of like theme. People misuse the power once they get the ring, and they want more greed. They want more power. Yeah, I just don't think like that. I mean, I just don't think that there's. I think that there's also a negative thing. It's kind of like conspiracy theories. It's kind of like people that not nothing. I like a good conspiracy theory, but when you're too caught up in that, it's like you can question everything. I can, it's just yeah, there's it talks about police brutality in there, which is a big issue. I really don't think it's that much of an issue. Um, it is an issue, but I don't think to the extent of what the media and people like that are making it. I think there's something that needs to be done about it. I think there needs to be a discourse about policing and things like that. I don't think that defunding the police is going to help. And she also talks about communism, socialism, and how the main goal is, and this is the main thing that I want to take from, I want everybody to take from this video is as basically what I took from the book is, and this is what got me on to being conservative, having conservative viewpoints. Is it more? My idea of a government is not to have the government have too much power in our lives. We live in America. This is freedom. And you have capitalism, which is free market, and then you have socialism, which everything is kind of distributed by the government. The government has over regulation things like that. They decide, everything. So, um, yeah, I think it's more kind of beneficial for people to, you know, have that sense of self reliance. You know, I'm not saying that social programs are a bad thing. Um, social programs are great, but if social programs promote a person to be self reliant, and you have people that have been in the system for so long, and right now, I really think right now, which is kind of linking to currently right now what she's talking about. You're getting offered these. Again, like I said, you go on Wawa, and you know the people at Wawa, they can't get anybody to interview because everybody's getting a check, and so they offer you $200, $500, to work. I'm pretty sure there's a catch to that, but they're offering you $500 to work for them. It should be the other way around. People should be showing their worth and showing their skills, and really trying to get hired, as opposed to the companies looking to beg people to work. There's been instances where somebody goes to like a McDonald's or whatever fast food, and there's a sign out there saying, "Hey, we don't have enough workers here." And once people start liking that, like, "Ooh, I love that check. I love being on unemployment." It kind of uh, you need incentives. You need something to drive you. Something drives human behavior. And when you have a sense of worth, when you get a check, not to say you want to thank God that you have a job, because that's another thing she talked about in the book, and that's another thing when the African American community has always been church, and we've allowed all these things that have kind of been bigger than God, and I am a believer. I'm not perfect, nobody is, but I do believe that when Trump and a lot of conservatives are trying to get back to the get our focus back on God, family, traditional values, you know, um, that's the kind of thing. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent, but that's pretty much what I take with the book. I think it's better to govern ourselves to where we become self-reliant on ourselves. It's okay to get help. I'm not saying, but don't let the help be your solution. Self-reliance. People have more of a sense of purpose. Why are there so many kids out there that are getting involved in things? Because they need to feel like they have a purpose. I feel like in an educational field that if the kids have more of a sense of purpose and they can see their own abilities and worth, and another thing, fatherhood. I don't really want to say that fatherhood's a huge problem in the African American community. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that what I mean to say is the absence of fathers is a big problem, but it's a big problem all across the board. It's a big problem in America. You have a lot of families that are split up, and we need to get back to fatherhood. Males have been diminished. Talks about feminism in the book. Feminism has become this other whole new thing. It's not really about women's rights. It's something that pops up every now and again. And it's just all these different ideas, and but I'm glad that you tuned in. I thank you for watching my video. uh, I'll be doing some other stuff too later on, but I hope it's been informative. I hope you pick up the book, and hopefully if you are from a different thought process, or your political party, if you I encourage you to check it out and just have an open mind. I like to listen to all points of view, but I just think right now, the left is getting really extreme. So that's why I'm a Trump man. You guys have a great day. All right, thanks.